Good morning. Welcome to Coping with COVID. You may hear some drilling going on in the background, but I'm back in my chalet and I want to push you a bit this morning. But if you've coped with these so far, then you obviously don't mind too much the way I'm coming from. And it's pushing you to have some sort of practice so that you can deal with the stuff that comes your way. This COVID crisis is unprecedented. Talking to my dad again last night, he just doesn't remember anything in 95 years like this. It is huge. And the stuff that will come your way will be huge. Sadly, you will know people who will die of it if you haven't already, if you don't already. So how do we cope with all this stuff, all this difference, all this change, all this learning new skills? How do we cope? I just love, there was a video I saw on Facebook, a really cutesy American teacher saying, I've had to learn how to transition to home learning. And I thought, well, what better way to process that was to write a song. And so she picked up a ukulele and played a few little cutesy bars and then just went, ah! And that's what it's like. It is, when you think about it, it's horrendous. How do we cope with all that? Apart from screaming. Well, that may be a way forward, if you can do that. I would push you to have a practice where you can deal with stuff. I would love to call it a spiritual practice, but I don't want to put you off. And if the word spiritual is too big, just don't go there. But let me illustrate, because it's not going to have to feel that spiritual. Because I met someone in the park yesterday morning. Well, first of all, I saw him. It was about 7:30, and he was doing Tai Chi moves. And I thought, oh, he's a brave bloke doing Tai Chi in the park, because you know what we're like, British people. Oh, that's a bit odd. Whoa, don't do that. I know, because I've done a bit of Tai Chi. Philip Roderick, who was the bishop's advisor on spirituality for some years, I had a few talks with him. I can't remember why, but something was difficult in my life at the time. And he suggested doing Tai Chi, and I did quite enjoy it. But with my paralysis in my left foot, I didn't get on with it. I couldn't do the standing on the left foot, so I didn't go along with it. But it's good because it connects you with your body. And I know some Christians won't go near things like that, but because the Christian faith has really lost its contemplative traditions, they were lost a bit when the Roman Church split from the Orthodox Church, and even more in the Reformation when the Protestant Church left the Catholic Church. So spiritual practices have really been lost in the Protestant West, and we suffer hugely because of that. And now we're having to learn, and we need to learn, well, from Christian spirituality, but also from Eastern spirituality, other faiths. Because, there'll be stuff there that we maybe don't agree with quite fully, but there'll be stuff there that is just about the way human beings are. And we can learn from Sufism and Buddhism and Hinduism and more things too. Got some hammering going on now, but never mind. I will press on. So, the man doing the Tai Chi, I then met him later on, and I said, oh, I see you were doing some Tai Chi. And he said, yeah, I woke up and my mind was spinning. I just needed to connect with my body. So I wanted to say something to say, yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's important to me as well. So I mentioned the book, which I have now to show you. Mindfulness, what is it? A Practical Guide to Finding Peace in a Frantic World by Mark Williams, the Reverend Canon Professor Mark Williams, and Danny Penman. Looks strange to me because it's all back to front line writing, but the person I lent this to has now given it back to me. And if you read this book and work at it, and it is tough, you will end up with some sort of practice, some sort of mindfulness practice, which isn't going to threaten your faith if you're a Christian or anything else, or an atheist, because it's a purely secular book. Brilliant. Mark Williams is very coy about letting us know he's a vicar. He's not a vicar, he's a ordained priest. You have to really hunt to find that he is. It's a secular book, but if you've come across anything to do with mindfulness or counselling, it just distills all that wisdom in an incredibly succinct and powerful way. And it's a while since I mentioned this book. When I last mentioned it, 2 people told me that they got the book. You can order it. I picked it up online for £5. It is the best £5 at second hand. It'll be more. I don't know how much it is new. Oh, it says on here $14.99. Well, it may be more than that now. This is an old book, but it is really well worth the money. It is just such a brilliant book. And just a sort of name check to Rebecca, who is reading the book and just messaged me to say that she enjoyed doing the mindfulness chocolate exercise. And so there are some good things there. And, just Rebecca, you keep on doing that. I think in the COVID crisis, you might need to do that practice every day just to sort of keep your spirits up, that mindfulness chocolate exercise. Others of you I know started it and maybe finding it a bit struggle. Keep at it. Once you get through, you will find you have a practice that helps you. And Anne was saying, well, tell them how it's helped your prayer. Well, it has. I used to come in here and have an hour of a lot of sort of chuntering in my mind, which was helpful. But now I have a practice. I know what I'm doing. I have a sort of a roadmap for what I'm doing. So I'm effectively doing a sort of mindfulness stilling exercise that gets me out of churning in my head, connects me with my body, which gives me a space to see a different perspective on the stuff I'm chuntering about, and just helps me process that. And so I'm actually processing stuff. Talking to Anne this morning, got a meeting later on that will make me feel inferior because my colleagues will be doing so much brilliant stuff. And we talked about that and how I need to sort of just notice those feelings of inferiority, the sort of imposter complex or whatever it is called, syndrome, and just say, okay, yeah, I'm feeling a bit threatened at the moment, but I'm doing okay. What I'm doing is actually okay. And it's so important to hold on to that, and so hard to do that when we have patterns, scripts from our past. Scripts are just sort of like little computer programs that our brains get into, of looking for the negative and beating ourselves up. And I've got loads of those scripts, and I could tell you why, but I don't think you need to know. I think you might find it boring. But I just go into those scripts of oh, I'm no good. And I just need to... This book tells you how just to observe that. You'll feel really weird when it talks about observing thoughts like clouds. You think, this bloke's off his head. He's not. He's a professor of psychology or something. He knows what he's talking about. You just observe your emotions, your thoughts, and just say, okay, all right, that's what's going on. That's fine. But I'm not buying into that. I'm just observing it. So much it's not, oh, I'm thinking the wrong stuff and beating yourself up for it. Just observing where you are, what you're thinking. So I can't recommend this too much. It is just such a brilliant book. And if you have a faith, it will help you grow in faith. If you haven't a faith, it won't challenge your lack of faith, but it will give you a practice to deal with, to process all the really difficult stuff in life. And where better to start than within this COVID-19 crisis, because it is awful, it is horrendous, and I think it will get worse before it gets better. So I hope you find that helpful. I hope you are encouraged by my passion, if nothing else, because I do feel passionately about this, and great to be connecting with you in a sort of a remote way. Thanks.